What's going on, everybody? Fishing the odds. I got a free aluminum boat, and we are going to be transforming this little 11.5 or 12-foot aluminum boat into a bass boat. The gutting is done. The framing for the boat project has begun. My opening is 15.5 inches, in other words, that way. So I'm gonna run across all the way 15.5 inches. So that box fits right in there. It's gonna slide all the way over to there. I got my clamp set right now. And then this box is gonna sit in that side right there. So I'll have two boxes for tackle. And then I'll have my battery that goes over there. And then I will put something else in the bow. So rather than taking everything out, I just decided, screw it, I'm just gonna put that piece in there and like just live with that big plate, use it as a support system, I guess. It's gonna really help support the deck. Got it on both sides. Just build upon it. I'm gonna build this exact thing right here. So I am getting ready to cut my plywood, but first I'm gonna get a piece of cardboard and trace out the bow. I'm gonna set it on top and trace out the outside. That way I can tuck it up in there, and then I can cut the shape of the bow that way. See how it fits. Okay, I cut my piece to length. Now I'm going to get the openings. So I need a pull number for my doors. I got 3 of them in here. I got one right here, one right there. Actually, I got more than 3. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my square spot on the boat right here. So I'm gonna pull my numbers off of that to get my numbers to transfer the plywood and cut it out. So I can pull from this metal to the center of my first box, and then pull from this metal to the center, and I can get that first box. And I already have those drawn out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull off my straight piece for this box, pull off that straight piece for that box. Since this is the first time I've done this, I'm gonna cut them out to fit, but really these openings need to be a 1/4 inch smaller. That way when you have carpet build up on one side and the other side, your door actually fits in there with the finished product. You have to account for that eighth inch of carpet. And plus I'm gonna put enamel on my plywood to preserve it. So yeah, just cut big. These openings are exact right now. I'm gonna set everything in there and make sure they work. And then I'll take off the extra just because I'm nervous. My stir stick, you can only get this at Home Depot. It's like 80 bucks. You want to stir your Rust-Oleum for like 30 seconds. Let that dry for about 10 minutes before I flip it over, and I will continue framing. All right guys, I finished the enamel process. So the boat is drying, and I also added backing in places where I felt the deck didn't have enough support because I picked up one more piece of aluminum angle. So I didn't have support right here. I added backing there. I added backing over there. I added backing here, and there, and there. And that was it. So this thing is going to be ready for boat carpet very soon. Corner, 45 corner, corner's hidden. That's what that fold over is for. I'll show you another on the other side exactly how to cover up that corner. You make a square cut out, and then you 45 that right there, and that gives you a square corner. You just tuck it in, fold it over. So fold that over, tuck that in, fold that over. That. That. Of course I left my staple gun way over there. And I'm sitting on the piece so I can pull that carpet down on the underside. So I pull those two tight and I tack them. That's it. I'm gonna do the other one. Pull those tight. Tack them. Now I can finish my carpet. 45, corner's good. 45, corner's good. All right guys, the carpet looks good. It's dried very well. Nothing, I mean everything's sticking perfect. So I gave it 2 days. 2 days was plenty in my opinion. It says 3 to 5 days, but honestly it really does feel like it ain't going nowhere. So it is time to get all of the hinges and the handles and the fish finder get everything mounted and set up, get ready to fish, man. Just gotta get this motor right here. Gotta get the nice little outboard. I'm going to mount them on top like that, but I'm going to go through the aluminum frame that's beneath it. So these are really structural, and I will seal them off with marine silicone. As you guys know, I do that to everything I put in this boat, every hole that I have. And I'll space these even. I'm gonna go about 3 inches to center on both of these hinges. Actually, I'll go 3.5. I'll go 3.5 inches to center. So just go like that. Set this one at 3.5. It's right there. Okay, so after you get that first hinge on, then you come do the second hinge. And I got my 2 pilot holes drilled already. So now I'm gonna drill those all the way through. Okay, so once I have those drilled all the way through, I can set my hinge in place, seal my screws. Alright guys, so I also bought a cheap hole saw kit from Harbor Freight, the wood one, not the metal one, because you don't need to cut through metal, so no reason to worry about that. And I took the latch and I sized it appropriately, and I was like, okay, so this isn't going to stick out. You know, so I didn't really measure the hole size or anything, I just used it as a template. So I have a frame right here. So you obviously don't want to go too close to the edge, so whatever I did on this one, I went 3 inches to the center of that. Okay, that bypasses, as you can see, 3 inches. Bypasses everything, and it's a good number. Looks good. So now that I know I want it 3 inches, I'm going to measure the width of my latch, or of my door. It's 11.5 inches. So half of 11.5 is 5.25, or sorry, 5.75. So I'm gonna put my handle right in the center of this. Alright, so measure over 5.75. I'm gonna set it in place, and I want to grab it this direction, so I'll set it just like that. Just about center. Okay, and then I'll just go 3 inches that way. Alright guys, so for installing your struts, you want to position your door about where you want it. And this strut is not supposed to be at a 45-degree angle, like that. You want your strut to be at a smaller angle. So 35 approximately. So it's gonna be about right there to where my door is gonna close. So all I have to do is make sure my strut is straight, and then drill 2 holes right here. Okay, so I mounted my bilge pump and my float switch just to a little piece of angle. Screwed it into that right there. So you take any black wire from your float switch and you splice it together with your red wire from your bilge pump, and that's what activates the bilge pump, or the float switch to the bilge pump. And then the black wire you run to your battery or your switch or whatever else. You can buy a cheap marine heat shrink tube set from Harbor Freight. Super cheap. I recommend going there for most of your things for your boat project because they're cheap and they work. And it's not like you're gonna be building boats for the rest of your life, so you don't need crazy, not super crazy things. So now you wanna do a heat shrink tube small enough to where it can shrink over both of your wires. The smallest size that will fit over your wires, and that is going to be this size. I'm gonna cut this in half because I don't need the whole thing. Just like so. Same thing with the black wire. I'm gonna cut this a little bit further back, and then I'm gonna size it to the gauge. Just like that. Now I'm gonna splice these two wires together. You feather these out before you splice the wires together. Put your tube on. Just slide it down one of your wires, just like that. And you take your wire, feather it out, feather out both of them. I'm not gonna solder these together. It's just me. Then you just twist them around each other until all your wires are pretty much connected. And then you run your tubing down. You want to go over the insulation on your wire too. A little bit over the insulation on each side, like that. All right, everybody, the boat project is just about done. There's a few things that I still have to do, like I'm waiting on a bilge pump switch, so I can't finish my bilge pump, but other than that, all the wiring is done. All the latches are done, except for I'm gonna paint everything black, but I don't really need to put that in the video. So I mounted cup holders on this thing, one on each side. That's gonna be awesome. Got the other one right here. All of my doors have struts. I got my battery in here. It's mounted, ready to go. I made my own hole for my wires to come out of conduit. So the fish finder wires, the trolling motor wires, and I have this quick connect deal that I did to my trolling motor. As you can see, that's working. Everything's working. This quick connect deal, I could just unplug it, take the trolling motor off, store it somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And what I did to keep my wires organized is I ran them up in the frame of the boat with zip ties. So there's that one. As you can see, got the zip ties running all the way up until you get to the back of the boat. And let's hop up in here and show you guys. Boom. So I have these little tiny batteries, and I'm waiting on these little marine battery storage containers. But once those get here, I'll mount it right here where the battery's sitting, and it'll be in a dry storage container. So don't be tripping about how my batteries aren't in containers yet. I'm just waiting on it from Amazon. And I got all the wiring rolled up. Wiring's all rolled up away from the water line. So as soon as I get my switch for the bilge pump, that's gonna come out right here. And I'll just have an on and off switch. And I have the float switch down there. Also, like I was saying earlier, this battery will also be in a storage container. But for now, it's not. But the boat is relatively close to being done. I will paint it another time. I'm not really worried about that right now. and I'll make sure I get all these screw heads black, and everything will be black, so that'll be good. Anyways, this project was fun as hell. I learned a lot about boats and a lot about fish finders and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, man, I'm just really excited. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you've learned something. I didn't explain the wiring too much because I'm terrible with wiring. It was all new to me. But what is good is the fish finder has an inline fuse. So I'm happy that it has a fuse, because something about wires catching on fire and all that stuff. Anyways, I have a 1/2 inch back here, okay? Enough for my hose to come around the back and plug in for the gas line. And then my bilge pump, I got the hose coming through up there through the 1/2 inch, clamped to the edge, and it's gonna drain out right there. But I'm gonna cut this off and it's gonna be about that high. So yeah, I'll just show you real quick what I mean. You can run that gas line right through there, plug it in, and still have a deck back here. So that's why I did that. The gas fits perfect. I have my oars in here. This is going to be a rod stow. I've already tested it with 7-foot rods. You can put 7-foot rods in here. That's why I don't have it capped off on either end. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. Hopefully you learned something. I definitely learned a lot. And until next time, tight lines.